What's up, G Show Land, and welcome to another episode of the G Show Podcast. I am G1, and this is the Godzilla Block Party. It's been a long week. Shin Godzilla has come out in Japan. There's a lot of reviews, a lot of spoilers, and we're going to talk about most of them. But before we get into that, let me introduce my panel. And today is just the G Show. That's right, just us. We're rocking it on today. So joining me, as always, G95. What's up, my brother?
Hello, G Show Land.
Also joining me is a G73. What's up, my brother?
Hello, guys. It's been a long week. I'm tired, but I've been really wanting to podcast because there's a lot I want to talk about, and I'm glad we are all here.
Yeah, it has been a long week. It has been a very, very long week. But
yes, sir.
It is time to rock out with our, So.
Socks out.
That's right. So, well, we've been waiting. We've been waiting and we've been waiting. This podcast was created. It's about 3 months old. And it's about Godzilla. And here we are. Shin Godzilla finally released in Japan last Friday. And the reviews have been coming in fast and furious. We've had a ton of spoilers. I've been trying to deflect as many as I can. There are a couple of things that get through the crack. I believe G73 is a glutton for spoilers, so he goes all in. That's what I believe. I think he does these things on purpose. I believe G95 is...
Wait, did I post any spoilers?
No, I don't think you posted anything, but I think you might have looked at some, man, because that's just how you rock.
Yeah, well, if I posted a spoiler, it's because I didn't know, because I don't want to post spoilers. People are arguing with me on Megalon. They want me to post spoilers, and I'm like, no, I want everyone to see the movie for themselves.
Right. Well, what I'm saying is you didn't post anything. What I'm saying is I believe you've read them.
Oh, yeah. Well, I have a friend in Japan who answered questions for me. So
See?
I got my own little scoop.
Terrible. If you got a scoop, tell him to send you a vid cam, damn it. But I believe G95 has been staying away from spoilers as much as he possibly can. Am I correct in that assumption?
Oh, you were absolutely correct. I've done such a good job about avoiding spoilers for Shin Godzilla. It's ridiculous. I'm very proud of myself.
I hear you, brother. I hear you. But it came out. It is out, and we are now patiently waiting for our chance to see this movie. Many people actually went out to see this movie over the weekend.
And some Americans, man.
Well, yeah, those were the lucky few. Those are the lucky G fans that went out there just for the movie. But let's jump into that. That's a piece of our news. And, of course, G73 does the news. G73. People went out to see Shin Godzilla or Shin Gojira. What was the box office take for the weekend?
All right, box office weekend, it made a whopping of $6.1 million, or around that. Let's just say $6 million. And apparently that's a little bit more than what Godzilla 2014 did opening weekend. And just today, it was announced that Shin Gojira has made another 3 million, but it's now so I'm assuming it said 9 million. So that's depending where it was.
Is this converted to like U.S. dollars,
yes.
Or is this? Okay.
Yes, U.S. dollars. Yeah, because it was like in it said something billion in yen, 10 billion in yen, and that's like a million in U.S. dollars or something like that. I mean, I'm not too up to date on foreign currency, but yeah, that's what it said, and it said in the article, the little news postage of it, and so I think that's pretty exciting. If it's it started out slow, it wasn't a great box office, but it's it's pretty good for a Godzilla film. And not only that, but it made #1 box office too.
Yeah,
and that's great.
It is. I agree. I look at it like we see box office out here in terms of when it's a blockbuster. 20s, 30s, 40s shit. You get something like Jurassic World and Star Wars that they open up to the 100 millions, 200 millions. So when we see 6 million, we look at it like, oh, it's not even a blip on the radar. But it is. It's a huge thing, apparently, in Japan. I guess movies don't open up that large. Um, and
No,
it was
sir.
the number one movie of the weekend, which was great. I mean, so let me ask you, G95, do you think that might have something to do with the fact that it was Ano who was directing this?
I think so, because I mean he's wildly popular in both Japan and the rest of the world for Evangelion, and also I think a big part of it has to do with its fucking Godzilla.
Yeah.
Like that's kind of they're one of Japan's biggest cultural exports is Godzilla.
And Evangelion.
Well, more so Godzilla though. Evangelion's big, but I mean it's like anime is still it doesn't I guess isn't as prominent over there as it is here. That sounds bad, but Godzilla is bigger than Evangelion. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah, Godzilla is
definitely.
more of a worldwide commodity, whereas Evangelion select markets.
Yes, has a very tight fan base, and yeah, I think it's just like anytime a Godzilla movie comes out over there, I think it's going to do big numbers for them because it is such a big cultural point for them. It's like any big American franchise. Oh God, I can't even think of one offhand. Like some big action franchise that's kind of been a staple for I don't know James Bond, let's say.
Good call.
Those are British movies, but they're still a cultural landmark.
Very
It's
huge
going
culture.
back to as far back as Godzilla. So
And it's funny you mentioned that because James Bond has Godzilla and James Bond apparently are the top two longest franchises. Have the most films in their franchise.
Facts.
yeah, something along those lines. But yeah, just like every time a James Bond movie comes out stateside, it's always going to do big numbers. And I assume that means that correlates directly to Godzilla in Japan. Anytime Godzilla movie comes out in Japan, it's going to do big numbers.
Agreed, man. Look, man, $6 million, number one at the box office. Personally, not knowing how Japanese box office is, I would assume, being it's number one, that it's a success. It's a hit. We also could have possibly certain sites, just bigging it up for the fandom, not to quoting a term from my boy from GVA, rustling any G fans Jimmy's, saying that $6 million, man, that's nothing. But you have certain sites that praise the $6 million and praise it being number one. I mean, I think the only thing that I know of, because it was like I think top billing in the article was like it beat a One Piece animated movie to take number one. So I don't know what else is out in Japan right now. I don't know what American movies are out there.
When I checked the link, it was Finding Dory was number 2 at the box office. So it's not really going against much competition. But you know what? Who cares? Why does it have to go up a competition?
Well, look, because that's just the way this monster industry is. It's going to run into something.
It's true.
But look, I'll put it like this. The fact that it opened up to $6 million opening weekend, and as of today, it's at $3 million. We don't know what it's going to take in for the next weekend, which is a good thing. I think that's it's successful, man. I don't know what Toho spent on this movie. I would like to know what their figures.
I was wondering the budget made for this film.
Right, because
I can't find it anywhere.
Maybe that's Toho keeping things on the wraps because again, this is their first full CG Godzilla movie.
That's true.
So that's interesting. And I'm not knocking the technology in Japan as far as CG goes. We really haven't seen anything to the caliber of what America has done with CG as of yet. I mean, I know Japan is a technology town, city, country. They are always innovating. But as far as visuals go in the movies,
empire,
right? As far as what we've seen in the movies, they're, from what I've seen, I can't speak for everything because I haven't seen every Japanese movie. It's just not my gig. But we know what we get out here in terms of CG. We know what these budgets cost out here when these big blockbuster movies are made. We know G14 was made for something like, I think, $160 million, if I'm not mistaken. And it made it back. Yeah, and it made it back. It covered. It went like 210 or something domestically, maybe a little more. I think the worldwide box office had it tallied. I gotta recheck my facts here. So if I'm wrong, correct me, G Showland. But I think the worldwide tally might have been 500 million. That's not bad. I would really love to see what Toho put out for this movie, what they shelled out, because maybe they made their money back already, and that's a great, great thing. But so that's the box office. That's the box office. Yeah.
If I could interrupt real quick, I will say this, that from what we've seen of Shin Godzilla, supposing that this is a totally CG Godzilla, I think there is some somewhat of suitmation in there to a degree.
Yeah, no, that video I posted to the chat. Toho even admits that there is some puppetry used in Shin Godzilla.
There's some puppetry, yeah, but how much of what we've seen in the trailers, how much of that is a puppet? But let's just assume that it isn't a puppet. Let's just assume that, save for those really close-up shots of Godzilla, that's all CG. Let's just assume that for a second. That's damn impressive CGI.
Not only that, but you motion capture too.
That's better looking CGI than I was expecting. When I first heard, like when the news first broke about CG Godzilla, CG Godzilla, I was really hesitant and skeptical on how good it would look. I thought, Japan, while they are technological innovators, they're not really known so much for, outside of anime and Godzilla and maybe a couple other kaiju franchises and stuff. They're not really known for their films or their filmmaking. So I was really hesitant on that. But seeing what we've seen in the trailers, supposing that this is 100% CGI, looks so impressive. And all of my doubts have gone out the window. That being said, I do think there is some suitmation motion capture in there to an extent.
Right. Let me play devil's advocate here, because somebody has to. Everything we've seen in the trailer, and without spoilers, because I'm sure G73, I know for a fact you know certain things. I've seen certain things. I don't, and I'm trying to blank them out of my head. So without spoilers, for argument's sake, what we've seen in the trailers is pretty much the same lumbering Godzilla model. Now, yes, the CG, it looks amazing. The creature look aside, what they have done, the technology involved in it, it looks really, really good. Everybody knows my opinion the way it looks. I don't like the look, the aesthetic of Godzilla, but the accomplishment of making it, if that is a full CG model, that's amazing. I love it. That's definite kudos, like you said. It is a something to behold, because we didn't think that they would do something to that effect. That being said, everything we've seen in the trailer is pretty much the same looking Godzilla. The only thing that's actually moving around a lot is the tail and Puppet Godzilla. So, again, without spoilers, I cannot wait to sink my teeth into this movie. I am 100% positive you guys are the same mindset as I am, to see a fully rendered Godzilla. G14 was the fully rendered Godzilla. But Toho's attempt at a fully rendered Godzilla carrying a whole movie. Because we've got a CG Godzilla before, in that one movie.
Always Sunny on something street.
I love you, G73. Yes, Yes.
I was thinking about that too.
And it looked great, and it was kind of like a GMK slash Showa look, maybe like original. It looked like an original 54, but it had the GMK look almost. I loved that look. Like honestly, you could have gave me that in this movie, and I was fine, 100% fine with it. But yeah, so let me play. Like I said, let me play devil's advocate, and you just throw that out there. What we've seen in the trailer was pretty much the same shot, if you will, of Godzilla just lumbering, and hopefully we get a lot more movement. I mean, I believe we will. I don't think Toho is going to freaking shoot themselves in the foot and just show that. Remember, as much as people shit on G14 and the amount of Godzilla time, we had a lot to witness later on in the movie that they never showed in the trailers. So, for instance, him fighting the Mutos, he's very agile. Not agile. He's very active, I should say. So
he's very intimate.
he's very intimate. Yes, that. So you know,
he's a brute. Okay,
we're just looking forward to all that stuff. Okay, that all out of the way. Let's move on to the next thing, which is let me ask you guys a question. It made $6 million opening weekend. It's sitting at $9 million as of this podcast, or as of us recording this podcast, because who knows? Maybe by the time you guys are listening to this G-Show Land, it made $1 million or $2 million more. Do you guys think, and remember, this is something that I was talking about, that I've been championing since our first Godzilla review. Do you guys think that this movie could have made a bigger box office haul if Toho went the route and said, you know what? Let's do some crazy shit, and let's do a VOD release of the movie also. So you go to Japan, you're in Japan, you're in Japanese cinemas, you get to see Shin Godzilla, but for those G fans across the globe, because there's a lot more of us now than there was, let's say, 10, 15 years ago, around the world. Let's throw it up on VOD, because everybody's got some kind of device that can do these things, whether it's a cell phone or it's a gaming console. Hell, there's even smart TVs. Everybody's got a computer. So do you think that if they would have went that route, a VOD route, do you think the box office toll would have been a lot more significant, or it really wouldn't have mattered? Let's start with you, G73.
That's a good question. I know, if it was on VOD or Voodoo or whatever, I think it would be a little bit higher. Just because you will have more people across the globe watching the film, and I mean, I know for sure that if it was on VOD right now or Voodoo, I would steal my mother's credit card and no questions asked, and I'll be watching Shin Gojira right now. But yeah, I think it would be a little bit more increased, just because there are people out there that do not like going out in public, and they like the comfort of their home, and it's also a different route because you can invite tons of friends over and watch a movie that has just been released with a whole bunch of friends and have a little party. But yeah, I don't think it would be like significantly higher. I just think it would have been a little bit more. I think it would have been a little bit more, just a little bit, just enough. A little bit more than 6 million, maybe 7.
Okay. What about you, G95?
I agree with Chase about the overall numbers. I don't think it would be too much higher, especially not opening weekend. I think it would be probably $1 million or extra towards the total box office or so, maybe, like, if that. But I also think on the flip side, I think the reviews would be worse because a lot of people would be like,
yeah, that's true.
And it's like Zilla or G1 always, or Z1, excuse me.
Game Z1, who ain't here right now, I got you.
Games.
It's like Z1 always says about people's notions when they came out of Godzilla 2000 out of the theaters. They were thinking it was a sequel to '98. They were confused as to why there's subtitles and all that. I think that would be the same case, even in this day and age, over Voodoo. So I do think the reviews would be worse because some people would be under the impression it was a sequel to the legendary Godzilla.
Well, all right, I get what you're saying. My thoughts are for those who follow it. Let's say, for instance, 5-year-old little Jimmy who saw G14 in theater and loved it. He's not gonna understand that this is a different Godzilla. It's up to little Jimmy's father to explain to him, "Hey, listen, man," who's also a diehard G fan since he was born, right? He's got to explain to him, no, this is not this. And the VOD thing, I don't. For me personally, the VOD thing would be strictly more for the G fans because VOD, it works to an extent because there are a ton of movies that get released on VOD that's only released to a minimal amount of people. Not the average movie-going audience does not pay attention to VOD. That's why I thought VOD would be the perfect place to put something like Shin Godzilla or any foreign film for that matter. Stuff that is not easy to get out here because let's look at it like this. The United States and Hollywood seems to be the leading market of movie making in the world. So when you get something like Godzilla who has a strong fan base now around the globe, something like VOD would be a perfect platform for those G fans to see the movie. And like I said, 5-year-old little Jimmy probably won't know it's coming, but his pops will. Now, the subtitle thing, yes, I understand that because that's not everybody's cup of tea. But if I'm able to see that movie regardless, I don't care if it was subtitled or not. It could be straight Japanese. I'm just going to watch it. I want to see it, you know?
I think we're all expecting when the torrent finally does leak, I think we're all expecting to watch it in Japanese with no subtitles, right?
I agree.
Like, I'm not
expecting subtitles or anything.
Yeah, I've never watched a Godzilla movie without subtitles or without being dubbed, but and really don't have much of an interest to just not be as engaged in the story as I could be, but like if this is Shin Godzilla, man, this is what we've been waiting for a year now.
Yeah,
I'm ready to watch this movie.
Especially because this is Toho's answer to G14, and again, G2K had every right, okay, to be the answer for G98 because G98 was a letdown, and you got to remember Toho signed off on that, okay. They signed off on that. That was a cash grab for everybody involved, and it was a flop. So, going by Toho's track record, they knew they weren't going to make a lot of money in the States, and G2K was evident of that. It didn't really make anything for what G98 made because the average movie-going audience, they weren't going to see it. But then when you look at G14, and you're like, was it necessary for them to make a comeback? Not really, because G14 was successful, and it made enough money to get a sequel going. Unlike G98, made a successful TV show afterward. The Godzilla animated series. It's one of my favorite fucking cartoons of all time.
That was badass, man. I would sit on this Saturday morning watching that on Fox Cartoons with a bowl of Fruit Loops.
Every fucking Saturday. You ain't lying. And there was the F-bomb out of my mouth, too. So, what I'm saying is, this particular movie, I feel, was unnecessary on Toho's part because they didn't need to make this movie. Not yet. Not yet. See what Legendary is going to do. But, it is what it is. And, I'm not complaining because that just means more Godzilla, especially from Toho. And that's what I'm looking forward to. And I'm sure a million other G fans or a billion other G fans out there feel the same way. So, yeah, I went off on a tangent. I'm sorry. You can't have a podcast without a tangent.
It was a great tangent.
So, all right, let me ask you guys this, because like I said at the top of the show, with the exception of the G73, G95 and myself, we're avoiding spoilers at all costs. How hard is it now to actively avoid spoilers, or you just click off all of your favorite, Godzilla hunting grounds? Let's start with you, G95.
Start with me?
Yeah.
For Shin Godzilla, it's been really easy. I'm only a part of a handful of groups on Facebook that are dedicated to Godzilla. I like, I don't know, probably 100 pages, but most of them have been mindful enough to avoid posting spoilers, or are just as in the dark as I am. So it's been pretty easy. Like, I see, scrolling through my timeline on Facebook or whatever, I see the group name come up and something to do with Shin Godzilla somewhere in the picture. I know to keep on scrolling, not really pay attention to it. I've seen, like, Dread Central and Bloody Disgusting post reviews of Shin Godzilla, or post some behind the scenes stuff. I just keep on scrolling. I don't want to read reviews. I don't want to see behind the scenes stuff. I just want to see the movie. That's all. I want to formulate my own opinion. We talked about this in the exact same situation with Suicide Squad last night.
Yep.
Definitely, Suicide Squad is a lot harder to avoid because it's a summer blockbuster. But
and it's where we live
right now.
It's been really easy to avoid Shin Godzilla stuff so far. There's been a couple times where I've kind of treaded in dangerous waters, but sailing's good.
He's a boat captain. G73, what about you?
So let me just explain myself here. I have a few friends that live in Japan, and the spoilers, they weren't really spoilers to me. They were just questions I wanted answered. But with that said, I did that on my own just because of my curiosity, and I'm not a patient person. But, however, I'm not disappointed with what I heard. I'm actually very excited. But I won't get into what it was or anything, but when I started doing Megalon for Godzilla 2014, that was almost impossible for me to avoid, because I would get, just like Shin Gojira right now, there are people that will message me spoilers. There are people that will comment spoilers in my page on purpose because I tell them I do not want spoilers. And I blocked people because of that. And I told them that if you post spoilers, I'm just going to ban you. Because out of my respect and respect to everybody else, I want everyone to find everything out on their own. I was an exception because I have a leeway. I have someone who can actually give me a source, and they're, because they actually saw the film. And I mean, I know it's kind of hypocritical because I know, and I'm telling people not to, I'm not going to post spoilers, but I do know the spoilers, but, it's because, if that's the case, if people really want to find spoilers, go search on your own then if you want to do it. I'm trying to avoid, if I post spoilers, it's probably on accident because I'm trying not to. And I caught myself the other day. I posted a picture of Godzilla and I didn't notice what was going on. And I'm like, oh shit, I shouldn't do that. But, it was kind of like I didn't notice it. It was just a beautiful picture of Godzilla. But, I was talking to Final Gojira, and people are even messaging her spoilers on purpose just because they want to talk about them. And that's kind of the case with me, too, is like people want to talk to me about them. And I had people message me, tell me the spoilers and all that. And I'm like, no, I'm not going to do that, and it's hard. It's it's kind of weird because I don't see, I don't see a lot of spoilers post on my newsfeed. Now, however, I'm not in any Godzilla page anymore. I took myself out of all of them, all the pages that I was in. I got out of them just because people were posting reviews and spoilers on purpose, and And then it was just ignorance from other people, and I don't like that. That's my problem with joining groups, is that you get people that make things so out of proportion and over exaggerated, and before they even see the movie, they make an assumption that it's just going to be nasty, horrible to them or whatever, and I don't want that. Because I want to go in, feeling this is going to be a different experience. So I took myself out of those pages, and so on my personal news feed, I don't see spoilers. Maybe once in a while, but it's always from the one person, and I can just unfollow what he posts, so that's easy. But I mean, it's pretty simple to avoid them for me. But because I'm impatient and I know a lot of sources that will post stuff, I kind of give into temptation. That's my weakness. But I was telling Matt the other day that I'm done looking at Godzilla stuff and everything, and I haven't done that yet. I've only been on my art pages that post pictures. But I guess kind of then that's kind of spoilery because they post some pictures, but I just won't post those.
Well,
but I've been doing good for myself. I haven't been on my sources reading shit or anything. Excuse me, pardon me.
That's fine.
So I've been trying to man myself in, and I got a new shirt, and I posted it on my page and everything, and I love it. I wore it today. It smells like glue, but it's gonna be great after I wash it. And it's a Shin Godzilla, and I just love it. I think it's a great looking shirt, and so. I'm keeping myself hyped for this. I'm avoiding reviews. I'm not reading any reviews just because every review I see is always 50-50. Someone will be like, it's yeah, or they're like saying it's great. And I honestly think that it's just because Japanese culture is very, very different than American culture.
Right.
And so if I do stumble across a review, I'm only going to read like the Japanese ones, because so far, I've seen one negative review so far, but that page that posted it, they post negative reviews for everything, and I'm not going to name the page, but they just bash everything. I honestly think this Godzilla film is going to be great. Things I hear from it, it's very different, but it sounds amazing, and I am excited. I am so hyped. I'm having dreams of seeing this movie, and I'm excited. I can't wait till they announce when the film will be here. Not only that, but I hear that they're going to be selling merchandise for the movie inside the theaters, like they're doing in Japan, and they have some awesome looking stuff. So I'm excited. I hope they do that, because they have a Godzilla pen, they have a Godzilla figure you can buy at the theater. They have a whole bunch of cool stuff, and I'm hyped, guys. I can go on forever about this because I am super excited for this movie.
Well, we've got plenty of time.
Here, but I'm gonna let you stop me.
we got plenty of time, man. We still got time. We don't know when this movie's coming out, but like we said in the last podcast, hopefully it's November. I don't see it coming out in 2017. That would be weird.
I think after it releases in China, they're going to announce the other states, just because I feel like they're going to hit the big box offices first, and because I feel like Toho knows America may not accept this film like everyone else might, I think that's why they're hitting our country last, just because they're trying to milk as much money as they can in case it does bomb in America and the reviews go out. They don't want to make it just have a bad rap right in the beginning. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's my thing. Listen, and this is something that I'm going back to the last podcast when it was announced that Funimation was taking over to bring this movie out. I honestly don't believe we are going to get a massive release for this movie out here. I think it's going to be very, very limited. It's not going to be like G2K. It's not, because Toho's not. They're not dumb. They understand the game. And they see, look, there's only X amount of fans. That's why my whole VOD idea, I wish they would have done something like that. Look, charge $10 for the movie. I'd have paid it. I would have paid $10 to see the damn movie.
Like I said, I would steal my mom's credit card right now and be like, oh, see you guys.
You're terrible, man. But I'm just, like that's how I feel. It's like they know this movie is going to attract only a certain demographic, and the majority of that demographic is G fans. So then I don't think Funimation is going to come out with a gigantic, wide release, because then they're going to lose money on that. So they'll do what they did with the Dragon Ball Z movies. Did Funimation release
for a second? I kind of hope it's limited, just because if it's limited, it may not get as a bad rep from people. As a worldwide release, like a Plague release,
well,
like Avengers or whatever, I feel like it would be open for more shots of ignorance.
But that's right there. But that's what I'm trying to get at is,
yeah,
because it's going to be the way I look at it, because if it would be such a limited release, then there should be no fear of bad word of mouth, because the only people that are going to see it are G fans. And if the G fans don't like it, then the G fans don't like it, But they already paid their money to see it. So it's not like they're banking on, average Joe and average Susie to go to the theaters to see Shin Godzilla. Even though average Joe and average Susie went and seen G14. They're not banking on that. They're banking on us.
Yeah, we're talking about two completely cinema monsters here. I mean, they're essentially the same, but they're different in many ways, because it's Toho and then Americas.
That's not even the case. It's the fact that it's the name itself. It's a marquee name.
Uh-huh.
But again, we've seen this happen many a times. You've seen it with G2K. It did not. That was a wide release, and it did nothing. It did nothing. So that's why I'm saying they don't want to go that route. You'll lose money. Toho lose money. Funimation loses money. Don't go that route. Do it limited. Couple of theaters here and there. Big markets, you have 1 or 2 theaters in the big markets. Smaller markets, 1 theater, depending on the market. Like I said, man, we had Resurrection F out here in Vegas. Godzilla should be there, okay? We had just last week. Unfortunately, I couldn't go because I had to fly to New York. But I was supposed to go see Batman the Killing Joke in the theater. 1 theater in all of Las Vegas was showing that thing, and it just so happened to be very close to me.
Really? There's only 1 theater?
Only 1 theater showed it out here, yeah.
There was like 5 theaters within a half-hour drive playing Killing Joke.
Wow. That's awesome.
Have you seen Killing Joke yet?
No, I haven't.
I saw it last Monday.
I was supposed to see it last Monday, but unfortunately I had to fly to New York.
Because I got it. I have a free download of it if you want to see it.
Oh, yeah, no, I know where to get it. Trust me, I know where to get it. I just haven't gotten around to it yet.
One of my friends bought the movie and gave me a digital Voodoo download or VOD.
Or you could just go to Target and buy the Steelbook. That's the same price as the regular.
That's true.
Yeah, well, all I'm saying is that's what I got out here. So if I could get Godzilla like that, I'm going to see it. But the VOD would have been better. Because then it would have hit every market it needed to hit. And every G fan would have paid the money to see it. See, like me, I would go see it in the theater and still buy it on VOD. Just have it on my phone. But no, that goes without saying. What I'm saying is, we have to wait. If Toho would have did some crazy shit and said, yo, we're dropping this all at one time, worldwide release, VOD, and in Japanese cinemas, and they would have made bank. They would have made bank because again, Godzilla's worldwide, like James Bond. It's a worldwide thing. It's a cultural phenomenon. So yeah, but as of the spoiler thing, you didn't post any spoilers that I saw. I came home this past Monday night, and the first thing I seen was a spoiler on my news feed. It wasn't you. It was that picture, though. I'll tell you that much. I know what you're talking about. But then again, you got to watch where you go because, I'm mostly only on...
Well, there's one spoiler going around now that no one's going to be able to avoid because it's a marketing spoiler.
No, you can avoid it. You can avoid it. You absolutely can avoid it.
It's going to be very hard because it's,
Well, you just got to know how to tiptoe, man.
Watch me avoid it. And I will prove to you that you can't avoid it.
I know what he's talking about because I seen it. And I didn't see it on Facebook. I saw it on Instagram.
G-Fest, I will bow down to you, Matt, and I will say, Thank you.
Because I have no idea what you're talking about. And
You don't want to
totally
know.
agree with this.
Yeah, you don't want to know.
I promise I will never say anything or spoil anything for you guys. I would never do that. So don't worry about that. But I'm just, I do know more than I should, but I'm excited because I'm not disappointed.
All I'm going to say without spoilers is I came home Monday night. I jumped on Facebook to check my stuff, and there was a picture, and I was like, son of a bitch. And it wasn't a spoiler per se. It was just something I really didn't want to see from the movie. Yeah. And I was like, oh, all right. But again, it wasn't a spoiler. It didn't ruin anything. It was just something that I was like, I wanted to see that particular thing in the movie. When I went on Instagram, that's where I saw the spoiler that I believe Chase is talking about when he's talking about Bandai. And I was like, son of a bitch, that's fucked up. Then, later on, because I had already seen that, later on in the day, one of the more trusted Godzilla groups that I frequent, that I'm a part of, that I really like, there was the same picture. And I was just kind of like, well, shit. But I believe they took that down. I believe they took it down. But still.
I can't wait till we all see this movie to talk about the spoilers.
Well, that's going to be the greatest. That's going to be one of the best Godzilla block parties we're going to have. We're going to have I'm going to make sure we make time. That's probably going to be a Saturday podcast.
I'm not going to say when, but I'm going to say I did make a post about people's reactions to the spoilers on GVA, so avoid it. But I felt I made a pretty good point because people are complaining, and I think that they need to kind of calm down a little bit because it's kind of hypocritical. But I'm not going to say what it was about, but avoid it on GVA, but I had to make that announce because that's how I strongly feel.
Well, I already cut GVA out of my loop. I cut a lot of pages out of my loop, much like G95 did. And once I see the movie, everybody comes back, and it's one big happy family again. I'm not posting anything on a G show that's spoiler. I'm not going to do that. The pictures, I love the pictures. So G73, continue to put the pictures up, the artwork. Nothing from...
I am gonna try to avoid the super spoilery things because I do see things and I'm like because there is beautiful artwork of the spoilers from the film, but I'm like I don't want to post them because it will ruin it for people.
No, we got plenty of time for that, man.
I'm trying to just get standalone pictures of Godzilla that look really cool.
Yeah, and if not, man, listen, you throw something else up, man. Put Rodan up. Give me some Gamera.
Yeah, give variety like that. That's like that Gamera stuff that I found. I thought that was pretty cool.
That was pretty cool. So that's pretty much the perils of spoilers. It's like they could come out of left field, and where you least expect it, and you see it.
Go on. I'm sorry for interrupting you. I'm kind of hyper right now because I'm excited.
I know you are. It's been a while since we podcast, so I get it.
I do want to say, though, since I've started my page and Megalon, and I've been trying to post legitimate news, I will say this, that Shin Godzilla has been the absolute most fun that I've done for Godzilla so far. Because I have been excited with everything I've seen. It's been such a big anticipation, and the payoff has been so great. G 2014 was so stressful for me because I would be seeing spoilers, and I would have to go to my sources and confirm them or not because I would be like, well, shit. And by then, I was in tons and tons of pages and doing other stuff for other pages. And there was just ignorance, and people were making things up like two Godzillas, Godzilla dies, this and that.
I was one of those people.
yeah. And I was just like, I can't handle this. But then I ended up finding me on pages that I thought I'd never be reading stuff about. Like, I spoiled Godzilla 2014 for me probably 2 weeks before it came out. But... And I think that kind of ruined a little bit for me because when I did see G 2014, I wasn't as hyped, and I felt bad because Reddit is a son of a you-know-what, and that's where I found everything. But I saw it twice, and my second viewing was great because I went with a whole bunch of friends, and it was just fun because they never seen a Godzilla movie before. And I thought that was amazing because they came out of the theater, and they're like, Chase, that was, and bleeping cool. And I'm like, I'm glad you guys liked it because that's my childhood, And my friends, when I'm back in Sacramento, they really respect me and everything like that. And it felt like I was like important to them, or like this was cool. He showed us something that we like.
Listen,
So,
I tell you right now, everybody listening, do you hear the enthusiasm and excitement in G73? This kid's on fire right now. He is on fire. He's on fire. But I'm going to have to douse him right now because we got to move on. Sorry, brother. I love you. I love the excitement.
Let me just finish this. G 2014 was still fun, but it was a stressful, antagonist of trying to find information that was legit. But Shin Gojira has been a blast, and I can't wait for the rest of this. So, when Legendary comes around, that's going to be so much fun because I can't wait to talk about this stuff with you guys. Because
yeah, we're definitely going to get
This is my childhood. This is my life. So, I'm on cloud nine right now.
I hear you. Let me jump to the quiet man in the corner there, G95. Hey, do you have anything to say? Any rebuttals? You agree, disagree?
Well, I don't know how anything I can say could possibly top Chase's enthusiasm.
It's true. All right,
I love you guys.
All right, so let's come to this is the point of the podcast where and I don't do this every podcast, but every now and then I do it. I'm gonna throw a curveball. Something I didn't prepare you guys for in our notes.
Anime. We're getting Godzilla anime, guys.
Shut up, G73. Stop stealing the damn thunder, bro. That's the curveball. The Godzilla anime that Toho actually got a domain for. I think it's just Godzilla-anime, a web domain. That's kind of exciting if you think about it. Like,
this is a comeback of Godzilla, guys. Come on now.
There's G73. He cannot stop. He is on fire. But I'm not going to start with you, brother. I'm going to start with G95. I want to know what you think about this, man. What did you think about Toho, claiming a web domain name for a Godzilla anime?
Well, when I first saw the news break of like them just claiming the domain name, the first thing that popped into my head, keep in mind this was at like 10 in the morning. I didn't sleep much last night, and it was already a long day at work, even though I'd been there for an hour. I see we get Toho announced that they got the Godzilla anime domain, and I thought, oh, they're just going to play the Shin anime Godzilla episode just on loop forever. That was my first impression, and then the news started breaking of that was my morning brain at work, and then the news started breaking of like, or other people were saying like, oh, this is an actual anime. This is like we're getting an anime, and like, oh, all right, that's way better than what I thought. Yeah. So I think it's going to be pretty cool. I think it's just going to be interesting what direction they go with it.
Right.
I have no doubt that they'll get killer animation for it. But is it going to be in the vein of Shin Godzilla? Is it going to be a continuation of that? Is it going to be something new? It's all up in the air right now, and we have just that one more thing to get hyped for.
I would love if this animation was not Godzilla-centric. Instead, it focused on G-Force and their ever-struggling battle against kaiju in general. I'd flip my lid.
Yeah, I would love that, just because, Godzilla's cool, but exploring more monsters other than Godzilla, but still having Godzilla in there every once in a while, I would love that.
Absolutely, because what it does is it opens up the other kaiju to the masses.
Keep excitement.
Yeah, let's take GMK as an example here. GMK originally, Kaneko, Shusuke Kaneko, and I probably butchered that name, but the director of the amazing Gamera trilogy, when he got his hands on Godzilla, he wanted Godzilla, of course, to be the antagonist. He wanted Baragon, Anguirus, and Varon to be the protagonist. But Toho was like, no, they're not marketable. we need Mothra, we need King Ghidorah, and they settled on one
Who's
monster in particular.
mainstream?
Yeah, so and then they got Baragon. He got to keep Baragon in it. But I would have loved. I think I would have loved that movie even more than I already do, if you were able to see Anguirus and Varon in it along with Baragon. I think that would have been crazy. That's what I hope this anime does. Introduce more than just Mothra and King Ghidorah and freaking Mechagodzilla into the Godzilla lore. Do what Final Wars did not do. Make us care about the kaiju. I love Final Wars. I watched it on a plane ride coming home. Look, all of the monsters were throwaway. All of them. They were just cannon fodder for Godzilla. Make this anime about G-Force's struggles to contain the kaiju and show us all of them. Give me Kumonga. Give me Kamacuras. Fuck, give me Minya. I don't care. I would love to see something in that vein. What?
Give us some new kaiju.
Even if you want to go that right. I mean, listen, you bring everybody in. That's where I go. And it seems like G73's been agreeing with me, but I'm going to ask him anyway. What do you feel about this idea for a Godzilla anime?
I'm not much of an anime fan, but because of Godzilla, I would watch it just because it's Godzilla. I mean, it's not that I hate anime because I don't. It's just I didn't know what anime was until high school. Seriously, I didn't know what it was. I knew there was Japanese cartoons, and I did see the Japanese anime of Van Helsing, and that freaked me out because I was like 7 years old, or 7 or 8, and I had no clue what this was about. And I just remember seeing this mutilated horse thing rip a woman's face off or something like that. And I'm like, this is weird. This is not Van Helsing with Hugh Jackman in it or anything. So whenever that came out, that's how old I was. But so I kind of have been and my friends would show me Dragon Ball Z a lot when I was younger. And, the thing is, though, is that my dad, when he was around, he got me into, like, Terminator and Predator, and we didn't watch many cartoons. The first movie I watched was Predator with him, but as a kid it was Godzilla, so I was hooked on Godzilla from the start. But I hear Matt, and now frequently I'm very interested in Evangelion because I keep seeing a lot of it, and Matt keeps telling me it's great, and I believe him. And I eventually will get to the point where I watch it, but a Godzilla anime that just expands the world and could possibly just bring more ideas for Toho to do movies of, like
Exactly.
Live action films. That's great. Not only do we have an anime, but we have more films down the line of Toho. Revamp Godzilla, bring him back to life, revive him, get him out there in the public, because now is the time for kaiju to start making a comeback.
And it is making a comeback, and it's having a renaissance. I mean, Pacific Rim, Godzilla, Kong Skull Island, Godzilla 2 coming out. I think there was a solidified release date for Godzilla 2 last week.
March something in 2019.
Okay, yes, because I did see that while I was...
Weird. Why March? But
because March is a good place to put it. March is a good place to put it. Believe me when I say that. March is a good place to put it.
It's going to go against Jurassic World 2, and sorry, but Jurassic World 2 will make more money than Godzilla.
That's a fact, and absolutely. But is Jurassic World 2 coming out in March?
It's coming out in 2018 in June or something like that.
So then that has nothing to worry about. I'm not talking Jurassic World, Godzilla. We're talking about the immediate threats, and that means whatever's coming out the same week. If Godzilla's...
I don't know any of the immediate threats.
But that's my point. If Godzilla 2 is coming out in March of 2019, we got nothing to worry about right now. They solidified the release date. G95, let me ask you. You've heard our spiel just now. What would you think, what would be your ideal Godzilla animated series? And don't give me 98.
Or Hanna-Barbera. Yeah. Even though that's the best one.
Oh, God. I don't even know. I think... ideal perfect world anime series would be continuing the Heisei saga as Junior from Godzilla's death radiation, him growing.
Oh my God!
And because the radiation making him mature and become a full-grown Godzilla, and
because you saw that comic piece on DeviantArt.
Yeah, continuing that story. That's what I would want.
Man,
New monsters, new stuff. Yeah. Just but keep it in the tradition of the Heisei movies, which is I love linear story thing.
yes, I think that's the way to go with Godzilla.
Like I have that's a good example because I have the King Kong comic of Peter Jackson's King Kong, and that thing has a lot of different talkabouts in the comic than it does in the film, and I love it. And I would love to see the continuation of the Heisei series, just because, and I know you saw it too. The comic on DeviantArt of Junior coming back, that would be great to see. But make it a little bit more, let's say, serious. I kind of would like a little bit of a serious tone because I just think that'd be cool. So I would love that. I would adore that.
Well, if somebody,
whatever anime that they end up going with, whatever style, it's going to be serious. It's not going to be like Shin.
I would hope so. Honestly,
it's going to be dark.
Yeah,
it's going to be serious because that's what the popular animes are currently, save for like One Punch Man and.
What if that's what they're doing?
Star Adventure.
What if that's actually what they're doing? They might continue that. Dudes, that would be great. Going back.
I don't think they will because it ended 20 years ago.
I know, but I would just love that, man, because that means they remember. They're like, look, we have a big series here that we can continue. That'd be great. Especially because Shin Gojira looks like Heisei Godzilla almost.
No, we don't. No, we don't. No, he don't. No, he does not.
He does a little bit.
Not even a little bit. This Godzilla looks like nothing that we've ever seen before. This is a brand new Godzilla.
So he has elements. He reminds me of Heisei, all right? Because he has the Heisei dorsal fins.
No, he don't.
They just look mutated.
Nuh-uh. I gotta disagree strongly with that one. Nobody touches my favorite Heisei saga. Not even that ugly ass Shinji.
Okay, explain, because I'm curious.
No, it's a simple matter of opinion. I love the Heisei saga. I think I like what G95 said. I really do. I would love to see the continuing adventures of Junior. To be perfectly honest with you, somebody get me in touch with IDW because I've got something to pitch to them, and it is just that. I just can't draw.
It's about time that IDW actually puts out a good Godzilla comic.
It is about time. No, let me take that back. Because I also, in my little vacation that wasn't really a vacation back home in New York, I reread Half Century War, and I absolutely love that comic. The art, at first, I was like, I don't know. I love the art on that. I love the comic. The ending was a little.
Weren't you just saying last podcast or after our podcast you didn't really care for the artwork?
No, I didn't say that.
Was that a different comic?
That was a different comic. Definitely a different one. But yeah.
I just finished reading Godzilla Oblivion, or as many issues of that are out right now, and it's really not great.
Is that the one where he comes through the portal?
Yeah.
I don't like that at all.
It's
and I actually met the writer of that comic. I actually met him, shook his hand in the whole 9-10 yards. New York Comic Con, the first New York Comic Con, if I'm not mistaken. I met him because I know someone who knows him. So it's funny because had I known then what I know now, I'd have been like, hey, don't fuck up Godzilla.
He didn't fuck it up. He just made it not good.
Was it just kind of boring? Because the artwork for me just kind of reminded me of Rulers of Earth rehash a little bit.
I don't like the art. I don't like the art. I don't like the story. I am not a fan, and I would love for IDW to get it together and make it cohesive. They started out that way. And they went through several different Godzilla comics up until Rulers of Earth, and Rulers of Earth was kind of like the culmination, and I loved what they did there. Like G95 said, it's a linear storytelling element, and the art wasn't bad in those books, man. Massive props to like Matt Frank, Jeffrey Zornow. They rocked those like Rulers of Earth and everything that came before it. But yeah, I'm just not a fan of Oblivion right now. I will, I'm gonna finish it because it's Godzilla, but I'm more looking forward to.
Of it all, we may have opinions of it. but it's Godzilla. I love it because it's Godzilla.
And that's the whole thing, and that's exactly what it is. The same thing that goes with the movies, the same thing that goes with Shinji. At the end of the day, I might not like the look, but I love Godzilla. So I'm in. I'm in. That being said,
I want to talk, mention it back on the CGI concept. I think it looks pretty impressive from what they did have to what they have now. I've been seeing a few making videos and I've been posting them and stuff, and I'm impressed. I think that it looks good for what Toho has, and I'm excited to see what they can do more improvement on, because I saw the motion capture and I thought that was cool because I didn't know they were doing motion capture. I just thought it was CGI, and I thought that was impressive. It was cool.
Here I am once again playing devil's advocate, and you guys got the hate to bring the hate. I don't care. Dude, at this point in the game, you know, good CG is 10 years ago. We've got Avatar is almost 10 years old and is a phenomenal CG romp when you look at it.
10 years old. It felt like just yesterday I saw Avatar.
But that's what I'm saying is that's my point. That's where we are so far ahead in technology, where we're praising the way Shinji looks, and we shouldn't even have to be doing that. That should just be an automatic given. It's Godzilla, and they're making a CG model of it. Look, I don't care what nobody says. G14 looked good. It looked good.
Oh, yeah, totally.
So
G14 looked beautiful.
That's my point. And then when you get shit like the Jaegers versus the Kaiju in Pacific Rim, we haven't even seen Kong in all his glory yet, but just Peter Jackson's Kong, and that was 11 years ago. You know what I mean? So the technology has been there for more than a decade. I don't want to hear praises and props and everybody bending over to kiss Toho's booty. The fact of the matter is, the technology has been there, and Japan is one of the innovators of technology.
I'm just proud of Toho. I'm proud they're stepping back into the game. Frankly, I felt like they should have done this maybe. I mean, I don't know. I feel like they should have done it sooner, but then I kind of conflict myself because I'm like, maybe not. But I'm proud that they're taking the risk again, and I'm excited because this is my childhood.
Well, listen, they've been dipping their toes in CG ever since G2K, but very, very small, quick,
very limited
scenes. Very limited. You had Godzilla swimming, CG. In every single Millennium movie, Godzilla is swimming, except for Final Wars. I don't think Final Wars, the only CG Final Wars had might have been some parts of Manda and Zilla. That was it. Everything else was suitmation. And, of course, the aliens and shit. But as far as Kaiju goes, you didn't see Godzilla swimming in that. You've seen Godzilla swimming in G2K. You saw him swimming in Megaguirus, GMK, both Kiru movies. They dabbled in it. And then, of course, like we said earlier, It's Always Sunny or whatever that movie was called.
Sunny on 23rd Street or something like that. I'm not too sure.
We saw a fully CG Gojira on land, and it was gorgeous to look at. It was gorgeous to behold. I'm not buying the praise and the props that you guys are showing this movie because the technology has been there for years, if not decades. And again,
decades is a bit of a stretch, but all right.
Well, like I said, not decades, but a decade. Because like I said, man, Peter Jackson's Kong came out in 2005.
Mm-hmm.
That's 11 years ago. That's a decade. So,
but I just rewatched Godzilla 2000 last night. Got to the scene where Orga is about to finally come out of the ship and be, Orga.
Right.
At first, he becomes kind of the War of the Worlds style Martian-looking alien, and that's you can't deny that CG is horrid.
What? You know what? I actually love that. I loved it because it was this movie is more of a summation, and it was just like, all right, but you know what? Go ahead. Say your piece, bro. I love it.
I get that this was, 17 years ago that they did this movie. It came out in 99 in Japan. I get that it was 17 years ago. CGI is miles and freaking light years ahead of what it was then, and they didn't have the biggest budget for it. But still, it looks pretty bad. Mostly, I don't really know where I was going with this point.
Why do you think
just wanted to comment on how
why do you think it was bad?
The CGI looked bad.
Why do you think the CGI was bad, though? Do you think it's because Toho didn't have enough budget to do it? Or do you think it's just they weren't too fond of it?
Well, remember
the quality wasn't there, and they didn't have the budget to do it.
Well, remember one thing.
It's kind of ironic, too. Sorry, Ray, I'm cutting in, but
yeah,
it's kind of ironic with Japan being so technological advanced, but their CGI kind of lacks, you know?
Well, here's the thing. You got to remember one thing. Toho is not just known for Godzilla. Granted, it's their number one. Well, for us, it's their number one thing. But Toho produces and makes other movies. It's not just Godzilla. The question is, does Toho want to spend and splurge for the CGI then the way it does now? Which brings us back to the beginning where we would like to know what the budget was for this movie. Did this movie cost $5 million to make? And now it's at $9 million. They made a profit. That's a beautiful thing. We don't know what it cost yet. And when we find out what it cost, that's gonna be like, oh shit. That's when you decide, damn, this might have been a flop.
So can we speculate how much we think it took to make?
If you want, I'm not gonna even go into that route because I don't
want to do it.
No, because again, like I said before, I played devil's advocate. From what we've seen in the trailers, staying spoiler free, what we've seen in the trailers is the same model. And it's a CG. Now, you got to remember, and you're a video game buff, G73, so you know this. It's a model. It's a 3D rendered model. So they can take that 3D rendered model without movement and turn it around, and turn it around, and turn it around, and turn it around, and get every single shot they want. It's the same model, not doing anything. And all they do is add a little leg motion. A little leg. The most animated part of these trailers that's not a puppet is Godzilla's tail.
Yep.
And that is what freaks me out, because when you see G14, when you see that first trailer, when you actually get to see him, and he comes out and roars, and he comes down, his head open, bang! That's full CG. That's not a puppet. That's full CG, and that's what I'm talking about. The technology is here. It's available. Whether Toho wants to splurge or not, we don't know. I don't know what this movie cost to make. So it's not a beef, G-Show Land. I'm not shitting on this movie in any way possible. I haven't seen it. And if you go back and listen to all of these podcasts, you will hear me say, until I see this movie, I'll make my definitive decision on how I feel. I can't judge the movie. You can't judge a book by its cover. Even if the cover's ugly. Because guess what? If you go and buy the Evil Dead DVD, the Necronomicon, that's an ugly cover. But the movie inside is flawless. Right, G95?
Don't even get me started on that Necronomicon cover. I love it.
That's what I'm saying.
I have both of them.
You know what? Speculation time. I'm cracking a beer. Hang on. Listen. Oh, yeah. Speculation time.
Oh, he's cracking a beer.
Godzilla's a deadite. He's a deadite. Somebody open up the Necronomicon. No. I'm not. Listen, don't take that to heart. That's me just goofing around. I'm fucking around. But yeah, that's my whole beef. That's my only concern is, what's the budget? We've seen a fully 3D rendered Godzilla that's animated, that worked, and all we've gotten from this trailer so far, besides puppeteering, because let's be for real here, the last trailer that came out that blew our minds, okay, when we confirmed Purple, okay, that was the puppet. That was the puppet with CG enhancements. That wasn't the CG rendered monster. That was the puppet. And I have no problem with that. And one of our earlier podcasts, me and G95, we spoke about it. It looks like Suitmation with CG enhancements. I'm totally for that. But if they're going out and they're saying, no, we made a mock-up model, which we've all seen, and we use that as a basis for our CG, then all we've seen in the trailer is the same exact model, just moved around because it's a 3D model. So they film here, they film there, they film there, they film there, all around the damn thing. And that's all you see in the trailer. And if you think I'm lying, go look at all the trailers again. He's not moving. He's not. But we haven't seen the movie, and and I'm avoiding spoilers and reviews. So
and you make a good point too. And I have thought about that many times. Even in our earlier podcasts, we've talked about that. With Godzilla just having his tail move and stuff like that, and all of that. But I don't really know where I could go with this because it would just lead into spoilers. But
well, that's the end of that. That's the end of the conversation.
Yeah, it's the end of that. Let's go to the next subject.
The next subject is it's time to wrap up. We've went a little bit over, and I just want to say, because we could go on forever, and we absolutely can.
I Love You song from Barney.
No, let's not do that at all. But I did see that, and that was creepy, brother. That was very creepy. But
Inspiration by Z1.
I was actually watching that the other day, and I just kept stopping it right at the fully open, Shinji purple ray mouth, and I was like,
not look away from it.
Yeah, I was just trying to study the whole damn thing. The look is growing on me. I still don't like it. I want to see this movie.
I love the distance shots of Shin Godzilla in the trailers. When it's up in the sky and he's walking and he's extending his tail out in some trailers I've seen. It looks cool. I think he looks really cool.
Well, we're gonna see this movie.
But I'm still, I'm still, there's still things about the design I'm iffy about. But I'm accepting it because there's things I know, and we'll just leave it there. I'm excited. Okay?
Yeah,
I'm excited.
You can see because you're gonna start to spoil some things.
I know, and
me and G95 we're gonna exclude you in all our reindeer games. You understand? You're gonna become Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer.
I will not do that.
All right, let us see the movie. We're gonna have that conversation. We're gonna see the movie.
It's gonna be the longest podcast ever.
It might be. We're gonna see the movie. We're gonna have a non-spoiler review. Then we're gonna do the spoiler review, and then you can say whatever you want. Write it down now to your heart's desire. We'll do that, and that will be the 2-hour podcast. But for now, yeah, I promise. But for now, we're wrapping this sumbitch up, ladies and gentlemen. I gotta be honest, very fun podcast today. I missed this damn thing. I want to thank G95. Thank you, brother, for not speaking as much tonight.
Wow.
I don't know. You guys kind of took the show away from me.
I'm sorry, man.
I feel so bad, guys, but I'm just so excited because I love doing this with you guys, and I talk a lot. That was one of my things. I always got made fun of at school because I talk and I don't know when to shut up. But I just love doing that because I have a lot to say, and that's why I write songs. That's why I do what I do, and that's why I do Godzilla stuff, because there is a lot I want to talk about. And I just love doing this with you guys so much.
And as you can see, that was G73, so thank you, brother. And I am G1, once again, on the best damn Godzilla podcast I've ever been on, because it is the only damn Godzilla podcast I've ever been on. This is the Godzilla Block Party. This is the G Show.
I love you, G95.
And he loves G95. Till next time, peace.